So I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, Alan. So your suggestion is that listen, Babcock is out coaching Trotz. It is what it is. We love Barry, but it is what it is. And your response would be, if you were Barry Trotz, would be get your stars out there more. Play. That's the move you would make. Play Ovechkin more. Play Backstrom more. Screw all these like fancy line changes and everything. Screw the third and fourth line. Get your studs on the ice longer. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm with you right there. You know what? A long time ago, I was in a Caps playoff series. We were up 3-1. Dino Ciccarelli scored 4 goals in Game 4. We beat the Penguins 8-4. We end up losing the series. And last week, I did a radio show with Pierre Maguire, and I asked him about that series. He was an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins back then, and I said, okay, I felt like you guys were coaching us in the last 3 games, changing our lines because we had key players not getting on the ice. He goes, yeah, we realized what your coach, Terry Murray, was doing, and we just started to put this line out, then we'd wait, put those 2 lines out again, and we kept Ciccarelli, we kept you, we kept the guys that were going in that series off the ice and forced the D matchups and the forward matchups. And I used to yell at the coach on the bench for doing things like that, for letting the other team's coach run our show and run our team. And Barry's got to say, all of a sudden Nazem Kadri's the best player in the National Hockey League, and they're scared to put Ovechkin, Backstrom, and Oshie against them. I think you just got to play them, roll them, and force them to put different players out there and let them take penalties and tell our guys, you got to be grittier, you've got to score, and you take advantage of this. Take advantage of lesser players and put the puck in the net when you have those opportunities. And it's going to be a battle of will and a battle of might, but I would rather go down swinging with my top-line players than not.
Yeah, they're getting desperate. Alan, a question about Karl Alzner and the injury. What do you know about the injury? They call it an upper body. First game he's missed in, was it 7 seasons, I believe?
540 games.
Was that a big deal last night? Did you notice him not on the ice? And do you think he'll be ready tomorrow night?
Well, it is a big deal, but you know what? Nate Schmidt was awesome last night, and he looked like he should have stayed on the ice every minute of the game. He was flying. But you know where you missed Karl Alzner was on the overtime goal. And not that it was Dmitry Orlov's fault, but Karl Alzner is the big PK guy on this team when it comes to left defenseman, and he would have been out there deployed with his partner, and it would have been a lot different scenario, I think, getting through those penalty kills. So, that's where you miss Karl Alzner, is below the hash marks, below the circles, that net front play, defensively in your own zone. And a lot of people have been hard on Karl this year, but those key minutes when you need a blocker, Karl's one of those guys you have to depend on, and he wasn't there.
Joined by Alan May, Capitals analyst on CSN Mid-Atlantic. So we spent the bulk of the early portion of the show kind of asking our listeners where they were in terms of faith. And a lot of Caps fans feel like it's the same old Caps and they've lost their faith. Where does Alan May stand on this team potentially winning a Stanley Cup? Because it's not just about winning the series. The hopes are to win the Stanley Cup.
Well, I'm extremely disappointed right now, and I try not to overlook teams or series, and I'm in absolute shock that they've let this happen and that they're down 2-1. But I believe that if they get this series back on, they come back, they win this series, they're cooked, and it's hard not to feel that way after what we've seen in the past. Right. And, you've got to get through the series to even worry about winning the Stanley Cup.
Right. I'm with you. I think if they win this.
Yeah, one game at a time.
I'm not going to say they're going to win the series, but I think obviously it's going to go 7, and then we'll see. Obviously got a shot. I think if they lose this on Wednesday, Alan, I see like an 11-0 drubbing in Game 5. A complete collapse.
You know what? I got more faith in them than that. And but they really have to put out on Wednesday night. Everything's got to be right. The discipline's got to be there. The right players have to play a lot more. Braden Holtby needs to be better than he's ever been. And they've just got to take the crowd out of that. I don't know if you could tell on your television, but through my monitor and the IFB that I wear in the studio, it was deafening in that arena when the Caps let the Leafs go and they got behind their team. They went to another level, and it probably took the Caps by surprise. And one of the things, you can't do it like you could in the old days, but there are ways of taking the crowd out of the game, and the Caps have to find a way to keep that crowd out of the game and not let them get back in. That 5-on-3 last night crushed the Caps, and not having the urgency, not having maybe the right players on the ice for that. that was a tough one to swallow. So, the Caps didn't kill that. The Caps didn't kill that. Then they didn't execute on that. And then they had a too many men penalty right after that the Leafs did, and the Caps didn't have any urgency there. And that was the turning point of the game, in my opinion.
Can you put in perspective that Holtby's one play? Nobody cares now because they lost, but I thought it was spectacular when he came out there. I get it. I love it. But and that sort of put it in context how great that play was for you. And then something had to go wrong, though, for him to step out like that, right? Like somebody blew their responsibility. That should never happen, or am I wrong?
No, that they let a player get out of the zone. The check wasn't proper. The puck battle wasn't won inside the offensive zone. And they sprung a player. And the reason Holtby went, I think if it's, probably 9 other forwards on that team, Holtby doesn't race out. But when he saw that it was Mitch Marner, he went out there and made sure that he got that puck. If he didn't get the puck, he had to take the man out and maybe take a penalty.
Right.
But he had to make sure he made that stop.